What's up, my little spirits? I hope that you're all doing well. Remember when I said that I was going to make this into a series and then didn't do anything with it? Yeah, well, anyways, moving on. Things might look a little different to you guys, and I want to take this opportunity to welcome all of you to my new channel. So, what prompted me to do this? I was in one of Everglobe's live streams, which you should definitely come to if you don't already, because we have a lot of fun, and I'm a total nuisance the entire time. While in said live stream, though, someone asked if I was going to make any more videos anytime soon, and I let them know that I had actually just released either 2 or 3 within the past week or so, but these were mashup videos, and they said they weren't interested in that type of content, which, no big deal, no problem, I totally get that. Ever since that instance, though, I decided it's time to give in to my worst fear and make a K-pop specific channel, which brings us here. As the channel name might suggest, ONEUS is one of my ultimate boy groups, although I must say that my favorite one is actually EXO, whereas my favorite group overall is Red Velvet. I was actually planning on making the ONEUS edition video for the series first and having that be the first video on the channel. However, a comment on the first video in the series, which is the aespa edition on my main channel named Nameless, the comment concerned me a little because I feel like I may not have properly expressed how my video differed from another content creator, which is Mara. Mara's video is titled Why You Can't Look Away from Blackpink, and I absolutely love that video. It was a huge influence on the series as a whole, but there is a massive difference between our videos, and that is intention. The comment was something along the lines of Blackpink was the first group to do this, referring to the subject matter of my aespa video again being hairstyling. And Mara's video is about the cinematic elements and member-specific color coding in Blackpink's music videos. The intention in Mara's videos is how both the hairstylists, the set designers, the directors, etc., they want to both make Blackpink look as appealing and attractive as possible, while also creating a certain persona around them in their own cinematic universe. My video is strictly about hairstyle and its correlation to stage presence. And without a strong understanding of stage presence, hairstylists don't always know what they're doing, and they often just say, this hairstyle looks cool or will look good on this idol, we're just going to throw it on their head. And the best example I can think of is Winter of aespa. Winter's presence is best complemented with warmer, softer palettes and longer hair that doesn't obstruct her face. But from next level onwards, we've seen her in darker hair colors and shorter styles with bangs that cloak half of her face in darkness. So even though Winter still looks beautiful with these hairstyles, they really hinder her ability to perform fully using her face in a charismatic fashion, which is the type of performance style she's most inclined to. So I hope that I was able to explain things at least a little bit better. Let me just put it this way. If Blackpink was to be the first group to have their hairstyling affect them and their stage presence, every group to debut before them, be it male or female, would have had to have been completely bald. And just to further drive my point home, you'll actually see some parts of this video that contradict Mara's, because Blackpink's cinematic appeal and their stage presence, although there might be some overlap, they're still completely different. If you do want a more in-depth look at Blackpink's stage presence specifically, though, I recommend checking out Everglobe's video, which is titled Brutally Ranking Blackpink, Twice, Red Velvet, and Dreamcatcher's Stage Presence. Both her and Mara's videos will be in the description and in the end cards. Okay, let's get this revolution started. The first major difference between Mara's video and mine is where I actually want to start. Mara started with Jisoo, but Jisoo and Rosé's stage presence are so similar that I want to tackle them both together. So we're actually going to be starting off with Jennie. Jennie has a very dominant and feminine energy on stage. Combine this with her cat-like face and she's a lioness. She exudes confidence and her stare can shackle the audience in a place of immobility. You truly feel like you're in the presence of a queen when Jennie struts onto the stage. This has garnered her the reputation of YG Entertainment's princess, as people feel as though sometimes she gets special treatment and doesn't care when she's performing. However, she actually comes off as more of a matriarch with a noble and icy exterior, yet a warm and caring inside. In K-pop, there's actually this title known as being the Ice Princess, which was first given to Crystal of the group FX, and has also been given to idols such as Winter of aespa and even Irene of Red Velvet. Jennie is one of these idols and can definitely come off as intimidating. This confidence is best complemented with hairstyles that keep her hair out of her face, such as ponytails, pigtails, and even buns. It really lets her utilize her eyebrows and forehead in her performances that bring a sense of cuteness as she softens her gaze or even scrunches her face. This is completely ruined by bangs such as in Kill This Love era. The bangs bring a sense of darkness to her presence, which contradict the warmth that radiates from her. Her best presence comes from softer bases such as warm tan, copper, shimmer, tawny, caramel, chocolate cherry, cinnamon, gingerbread, almond, corn silk, mahogany, seal, tiger, sun-kissed, and golden brown, as well as shades of brown auburn. Do you see, Cheryl? That's how you research shades of brown. There will be plenty more of that during the rest of this video. Anyways, these colors are best complemented by the magnificence that comes with meteor white, fandango, magenta, Irish purple, deep mauve, medium and golden blonde, Turkish arctic, navy and denim blue, lavender, vermilion, goldenrod, crimson, royal ruby, sapphire, strawberry, sangria red, nadeshiko, and shocking pink, sherbet, fire, and royal orange. These give her an effervescence that brings life to Blackpink's performances. What makes Jennie's performance style great is that the darker shades such as carob, chestnut, cedar, woodbark, shadow, oak, dark plum, and cool brown actually don't have a negative effect on her presence. She can even go all the way down the light spectrum as far as leather, metal, spider, midnight, and ebony black. Despite the light being completely omitted from the equation, the magnitude of her dominance is amplified and doesn't sacrifice her ability to stand out. It also helps when these shades of black are complemented by neutral tones like iron, abalone, fog, pearl river, and harbor gray. They bridge her dominant and charismatic energies in perfect harmony. However, this harmony can become disrupted when deluged in saturation. The best example comes from Ice Cream era, with the biggest offender being when she has a chiffon white base with slate blue and coal black highlights, and it's topped with a dollop of cream yellow. In Mara's video, this demonstrates the converging of the separate styles of the individual Blackpink members. But when it comes to performing, the inverted color scheme just makes Jennie fade like a phantom, and she may as well be transparent. Fortunately, her charismatic side is still present. It may not be enough to help her when the base of her hair is so white, but it lets her get away with colors such as the Thulian pink while sporting ultramarine blue highlights. And now, I have to talk about one of my personal favorite hairstyles that unfortunately is actually awful for Jennie's stage presence. Like I mentioned, Jennie comes off very cat-like. When her hair is longer, it moves in a manner mimicking that of a cat's tail, very hypnotic and alluring. So the bob cut and How You Like That does her a disservice in breaking that trance that she puts the audience under. And finally, we have to talk about accessories. Jennie's queenly energy tremendously improves when she wears any form of headwear, from hats to headbands, hair clips to hair ties, and crowns, tiaras, and jewelry-infused headpieces. They just make her appear more magnificent. She really wields a power over the audience and isn't afraid to hone it. I also want to mention something that Mira highlighted on in her video, which is that she believes there's a color called Jennie Red. And although I definitely believe that there is, when I looked it up, I actually found that the Jennie color palette was filled with various shades of darker blues and greens. This doesn't really have anything to do with her stage presence. I just found it very ironic how stark the contrast is between the colors we normally associate with Jennie, those very like fiery and warm tones of reds, oranges, and yellows, along with blacks and whites, to be from the ones that were included in the color palette of the same name, again being those very muted dark green and blue colors. And now let's move on to our heavenly duo being Jisoo and Rosé. They both possess what's known as goddess-like energy. Their presence is unworldly and draws you in like a celestial body that actually perfectly describes them. I know that Mara compared Jennie to the sun in Blackpink's solar system, but that actually feels like Rosé's job when it comes to their stage presence. Jennie is a better representation of the billions of stars sparkling in the stoic night sky. Meanwhile, Jisoo is the moon, mesmerizing and mysterious, and Lisa is the planets. She brings a sense of kinetic energy to their universe by constantly shifting positions in tune with the constellations that Jennie creates. Rosé is so vivid and bright that you can't properly perceive her brilliance. She shines like a shooting star soaring through the sparkling sea above us. While Rosé floods hidden spaces with light, Jisoo slips through the shadows. Her enigmatic magnetism draws you in as she wanes and waxes while wandering across the stage. She's a comet sailing across the endless night sky, cycling through lunar phases like silent silhouettes. As she saunters over the surface of the stage, the other members obstruct the oscillating waves of light from properly reaching Jisoo. Yet she persists through the planetary penumbras, perpetuated by the positions of her peers. While Jisoo manipulates the menacing maelstrom of the mysteriousness, Rosé transcends the confines of sturdy shadows. Her photokinetic powers penetrate even the most opaque obstacles of the night. While Jisoo is shrouded by a cape of shadows, Rosé bursts through the blackness like an array of stars shooting in a radial array. The dazzling gleam that this combination forms guides you through Blackpink's performances. Okay, now that I'm done pretending that I'm Robert Frost, let's actually get into how hairstyles affect and benefit both of these two idols. Jisoo and Rosé are both greatly aided by having their hair longer and freer. Its motion is that of a paintbrush, coloring the sky with Jisoo's cooler, darker tones, filling in the endless night with some sparkling highlights to decorate the ocean of blackness with glistening stars. Jisoo's fair skin complexion and strong bone structure work perfectly with jewel tones like jade, sable, and onyx black, glamorous blacks like rich, pure raven and midnight black, as well as golden brown, silver, and copper brown, and even more natural tones like licorice, sepia, mahogany, hickory, coffee, cocoa, chestnut, chocolate cherry, dark chocolate, caramel, cinnamon, auburn, red brown, umber brown, and shades of amber. And yes, writing this section did make me hungry. So, while I preheat the oven to bake some cookies, let's talk about how Jisoo keeps her presence from freezing over. Amongst this nighttime blizzard of darkness, a few warmer colors make themselves known, such as crimson, merlot, currant red, scarlet red, fire orange, tiger orange, hot pink, Barbie pink, tulip, magenta, cerise, fuchsia, Cheshire, mauve, heather, periwinkle, violet, azure, and admiral blue. Just a pinch of these ingredients blend perfectly to balance out her presence. But like with everything, there is such thing as too much of a good thing. If you raise the temperature too much, you find yourself engulfed in flames, such as in Doo-Doo when Jisoo has a bubblegum pink bob. I swear, this hairstyle in Blackpink just... I'll go more into it a bit later. But the color's so overwhelming and bright that it detracts from the mature and regal essence that Jisoo normally commands on stage. Where Jisoo finds the best balance is with natural colors that are not heavily saturated. These can include, but are not limited to, raspberry, jazzberry, boysenberry, plum, eggplant, raisin purple, cobalt, byzantine, lapis lazuli, ruby, and various shades of red and purple along the wine spectrum. Even the subtle pops of color that she gets through colors such as pewter and flint gray are just enough to add some flavor to her stage presence. These subtler colors work great at preventing Jisoo from being overshadowed while still synergizing well with Rosé's color schemes. This is important because Rosé is already the more expressive version of Jisoo. It's easy to see a light in a dark room and just as easy to spot the shadows lurking in a bright one. But when two lights are present, the brighter one overtakes the less luminous one and makes it invisible. So whereas Jisoo is the calmer night sky, Rosé is the boisterous sunrise peeking out atop the wandering clouds. Even though both Jisoo and Rosé possess goddess-like energy, Jisoo dons it more like nobility with a silent sophistication. Rosé is much more fairy-like, dainty, gentle, and soft. When embracing natural color palettes for the base for hair, such as light ash brown, sandy brown, honey brown, red sand, red fox, cherrywood, chestnut, syrup, wheat, ochre, Peru, Navajo white, pale ivory, platinum, light beige blonde, light natural blonde, and burnt sienna, they encapsulate the enthusiastic essence of her expertly expanding and earthly aura. She glides across the stage like a cloud whisked away by the wind, and every cloud has a silver lining as metallic bases find themselves washed away in a sea of deep sky blue encapsulated by an envelope of baby blue and space blue along the edges. This whirlpool deluges us in a wave of colors that pulls us in like an undertow, while the delicate displays of daytime detail the daintiness of her stage presence. They're decorated in a springtime color scheme, including the gold, garnet, amber, saffron, marigold, mango, apricot, strawberry, peach, watermelon, sweet pink, orange soda, tiger orange, light orange, bisque, Princeton, cerulean, lavender, lilac, thistle, mauve, cornflower, coral, and of course, coral rose. Rosé's hair is so important as even tints of baby pink and light orange can offset her wardrobe when it's too dark, such as the crow's black dress in How You Like That. But even her brilliance can be buried under a burnt blanket of bleak colors. Rosé is a sensual performer. This means that she has very subtle facial expressions that usually center around her eyes. In Mara's video, she mentioned how Rosé's darker hair brings out her bone structure. I don't have any objections to this statement, but the dark chocolate espresso integrated with strands of Bistre and Burgundy mask her presence. Unlike a more charismatic performer like Suki of Billy, Rosé's cheekbones being more prominent don't actually help her in terms of standing out as a performer. If I had to choose between the darker colors or something such as when she had snapdragon pink highlights with scented hints of papaya orange, I'm always going to go with the funner, warmer color palettes. As I touched upon earlier, neither Jisoo or Rosé fare well with shorter hair. It takes away the ethereal elements that a deity possesses. This is most apparent at the end of the Boombaya music video, where Jisoo's hair is the shortest that I've ever seen it, and you can almost not even recognize her from just how contrastingly different it is to her usual style. One also wants to avoid facial obstruction as gods and goddesses are supposed to be flawless beings, which the visual being Jisoo in this group is supposed to encompass. Every inch of these higher beings is supposed to be more majestic. Ponytails can sometimes be a bit too tame for their hair and prevent it from flowing despite the positive quality of keeping it out of their face. Certain accessories can accomplish this without harming their stage presence. Headbands, headdresses, and jewels really make them seem otherworldly without sacrificing how their hair flows. Hats and hoodies, though, make a huge impact and they lose all their glamour as a wedge is driven between their persona and their presence. The final thing that I want to touch upon with Jisoo and Rosé is how well they're aided by lighting. Given that their hair colors tend to occupy the polar ends of the light spectrum, with Rosé being closer to white and Jisoo being closer to black, strobe lighting and neon lights actually interact with their hair colors and give them an extra pop of life. They become one with the elemental chaos happening around them, as if they're in control of the stage and the lighting effects. It truly makes them appear almighty and powerful. Finally, we have the magne of our group, Lisa. Before I go on, I just want to put out a quick disclaimer. After contemplating it for a while, I've decided to not discuss the hairstyles in Kill This Love and Money that are on the controversial side. My expertise is how hairstyle affects how one's perceived, especially when it comes to stage presence. I am by no means an expert on hairstyles claimed by certain groups and how they can feel like their culture isn't being respected when people outside of said group wear these hairstyles. So if you are offended by Lisa's usage of black hairstyles in music videos, performances, variety shows, etc., please know that your feelings are valid and I'm going to do my best to respect them in not only this video, but all future videos in this series. But anyways, let's get back on track and talk about Lisa. Lisa is actually one of the few idols alongside Momo of Twice and Connie of ONEUS where I actually like it when they have fuller bangs. In the first video of the series, I talked about Winter and how her bangs cover up the lack of expression on her face. Lisa has the polar opposite performance style to Winter. Similar to Momo and Connie, she has larger and more expressive eyes. Combine that with how she uses her entire face and has powerful body language, it would be very easy for her to accidentally fall into the category of overperformers. And just to compound this issue, similar to Ning Ning, Lisa's often decked out in the most vibrant and bombastic color schemes. Mara actually highlighted this in her video when she mentioned how Lisa's the only member of Blackpink to consistently have all three primary colors being red, yellow, and blue in their most saturated form, as well as being the only member with a prominent green color in their palette. Highly saturated colors really work well for her. More neutral colors work well if they're in the form of highlights for these brighter colors, and shades of black are the only ones where we might run into problems in terms of saturated colors. Like I already said, Lisa's signature hairstyle works well to offset her overly expressive performance style, and she's actually the only member of Blackpink where the bob cut actually not only looks good, but aids in her stage presence. But in shades of black, it sometimes works a bit too well. This is especially true because she has to contend with both Jisoo and Jennie who thrive with the darker hairstyles. What really helps Lisa is if the black hairstyles have pastel highlights and or if her makeup, mainly around her eyes, has more of a vibrant color palette to let her really shine. And I just want to mention one more thing before we get into her color palette, and it's that Lisa is the magne of the group. Therefore, she's at the highest risk of appearing more juvenile, which doesn't work well as Blackpink, in my opinion, are the queens of girl boss concepts, and those usually involve coming off as more mature and more self-confident, more assured of yourself. And fortunately, in most eras, Lisa doesn't run into a problem with coming off as more juvenile, even in Ice Cream, which is just covered in pastels and is fun and bubbly. The one time, though, where I think her stylist dropped the ball is in As If It's Your Last era with the one-side ponytail. What adds insult to injury and salt to the wound is how in Doo 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 era, she actually says she's foxy while rocking a flaming red high ponytail. So it's not even the color or a ponytail in general that's the problem, it's just the specific style. And another thing that makes Lisa so different from Jisoo and Rosé is that instead of being affected by the lighting, she is the lighting. Her fluorescent style emits so much color that it can't be outshone. Okay, the moment that you've all been waiting for, now that you've suffered through enough of my ranting. Let's go rapid fire through all of Lisa's colors because there's a lot of variety here. Lord help me. Here we go. Lisa's colors include, but are not limited to, bisque, amber and dark amber, medium and platinum blonde, dark ash, slate gray, pale silver, ink, pitch, jet and tourmaline black, red orange, aerospace and vivid orange, marigold, lemon, banana and milk punch yellow, Tuscan sun, mint and seafoam green, turquoise, aqua, Egyptian Independence, Peacock and Electric Blue, Candy Purple, Mountain's Majesty Purple, Dark and Metallic Magenta, and also Carnation and Ballet Slipper Pink. Lisa is literally all over the color spectrum, and it really helps her grab attention while her amazing performance skills help to maintain it. And with that, we are done. I really hope that you guys enjoy this video. I'm sorry that it took me so long to upload the second one for this series. I am currently working on the BTS version, but every time that I think I'm done with it, they announce a new music video or a new era, so I have to keep pushing it back. So we'll see if that ever sees the light of day. And until then, let me know what other groups you want me to see for the series. I'm already working on ones for Twice, Red Velvet, EXO, Everglow, and obviously ONEUS. So please do not spam the comments asking for those groups. They will get done, I promise. It's not going to get done any sooner just because I get 50,000 comments asking for them. But please ask if there are any other groups aside from those ones that you want me to highlight. And until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, stay hydrated, and I love you guys. Bye!